Hey YouTube, since I just received my Zan, I figured I would give a little size comparison between the Chris Reeve knives that I own at this point. I'm not bringing out the fixed blade, the Shadow 3 or the Aviator that I have, just the folders. And the Zan is the largest by a hair, followed closely by my large regular unique graphic spirograph Damascus Sabenza, followed by my special edition Sabenza Insingo. It's a Sabenza 21, followed closely by another regular Sabenza with the crosshairs graphic, which just barely outshines in size my Manundi with ladder Damascus and mammoth ivory. I love this little knife. I even wore this when I got married. It's just classy. Excellent blade, sharp as a razor. Lockup's awesome. Just an amazing piece of work done by Chris Reeve. This one was my second, well, actually my first small regular. The first was a small 21, or a small classic Damascus ladder, but it was black and white Damascus. I didn't much care for it, and the lockup wasn't awesome. It was the only Chris Reeve I saw that isn't perfect, when it was still better than normal knives. This one saw a long time use and abuse. Needs to be, well, it's still sharp, but needs to have a proper edge redone on it, and a little bit of, maybe a trip to the spot. Still looks good, but a little bit of sandblasting or bead blasting wouldn't hurt the rest of the titanium. Still awesome. Lockup still perfect. Solid as a bank vault. I loved that one, but when the Insingo came out, I had to have it. That Santoku type kitchen knife blade that it had, I didn't like the swedge at first, the way it looked, but the belly and the cutting edge were just amazing to me. And when I saw my buddies, he had one of the first numbered ones, and I wasn't a fan of the classics, but I held this 21 in my hand, although I loved the regulars. The difference you'll see in the cutout here between the 21 and the regular Sabenza, this gives you more to undo the lock, and although it doesn't look like a lot, it's a ton more here, which feels like a choil when you lock into it. It's really good and firm grip. Those two things together, that blade and that handle, are an amazing thing, and it hasn't come out of my pocket since the day I got it, even though many other knives have come and gone. This was my second Sabenza. I got rid of that black, that was my third. This was my second. I got rid of that black and white small classic Damascus for this large regular unique graphic. And this thing is awesome. Lockup's about as early as I've ever seen on a Sabenza, and it's solid as a bank vault, smooth as silk. Smooth as silk in the opening. Normally just hit this little nudge right there. Don't even need to use the thumb thing. It's easy. Smooth as silk. And that spirograph Damascus is awesome. I'd ordered a small regular in just gray with the spirograph blade, waited 2 years before they called me, and when they called I unfortunately didn't have any money and had to pass. That blade and this knife, this combo, it rocks. I love it. First and only owner of all of these except the Manundi I got from my buddy, and he was the first owner. And then this bad boy that arrived today. I thought it'd be a lot larger than that regular. It's pretty much the same size. You can see it just barely beats it in handle length. Right? Almost the same. Now if you take the point here in comparison to that point, it really is similar, but I'm a little that way. So you see there's not a lot of difference between a large regular and that, depending on your perspective here. Pretty much the same. And the blade has it by a hair. They just packed more blade into that handle. Might have a little to do with the pivot and the lockup system. They're able to swing it out tighter because I don't have to worry about a stop pin or something where it's hitting. I'm not sure. That way they can move the pivot forward a little because it's more robust. Not have to use a stop pin. They're able to pack just a little more blade in the nums in. This is textured, of course, on the unique graphic, and it's quite useful even though it doesn't look like it would be. This one is textured, but it's so smooth that you can't tell. Obviously, you don't care when it's this beautiful mammoth ivory. That nice cream. The light I have just doesn't do it justice. It looks brown. It's not. It's just a touch past perfect white. And this thing I thought would be bad, but the plain titanium, other than where my hand has worn it a little, is pretty grippy. This knife just does it all. I mean, even this way, see the way it's cut on the lock bar? No matter how you hold this knife, it's perfect. Chris Reeve really is an awesome designer. Didn't even like these things when I first saw them. My buddy who had this one had 13 Sabenzas. I was over at his house. He put out his knives. He had a large collection. It must have been 60 knives, all in the expensive and nice range. Not one under $100 anyways. And I looked at these. I was like, and I threw it back on the table. He's like, it's a Sabenza. I'm like, yeah, well, I like the Dozier he gave me later as a gift better. And then as I went over his house, we were hanging out more and more. I kept looking at them. I was just getting amazed by how well they were put together. And now you see it's culminated in this so far, and this today, which you're talking December 2010. I hope you guys enjoyed a little peek at the collection. I cannot tell you my favorite one because they all hold a special place. This is my favorite gentleman's knife, and I wore it to my wedding. This I love and was my favorite for a while. This is my everyday carry, beat the crap out of knife, and it still looks like new. Gotta love it, and this holds a special place because just how pretty it is, and it's still it can be, or could be a user. It is awesome and strong. This is the everyday carry. It did replace this one. This sits in the safe. This was everyday carry until I got this. This is beautiful. I want to use it. I'm afraid I don't want to mess it up. Worst comes to worst, it's a good knife and I'll use it. Which culminated in a few fixed blades and this beautiful Tanto today that, depending on how it carries in my pocket, may replace the old Insano, especially on larger knife days. I think my large knife days, that'll be every day. This is my everyday around town. This is my everyday around town when I feel like a bigger knife. Unless I find I don't like carrying this one. And then I move up a step from there to my Rat RC3 for my fixed blade and my Nimravis Cub by Benchmade. And also my Chris Reeve Shadow 3 as I gave the Aviator to my father recently. And that's it. I hope you gentlemen enjoyed the sneak peek at my collection. Put the Damascus by each other. There you go. Nice partying shot. Special Run Customs, Damascus, computer-generated graphic. Hope you guys enjoyed the vid and another look at my collection. I really appreciate everybody watching. And again, a shout out to my good friends on YouTube, Orimoto and Apophysis. And I haven't heard from Trigger Time 71 in a long time. I hope you're doing all right, buddy. And Sure Shot and Freak 619, you guys been talking with me a lot. A couple new guys, Brothers Keeper. And man, I feel bad. I know I'm missing a lot of guys here, but a lot of the guys have been talking to me lately. Gary Mandovan, I cannot wait to see your Wilson. So, make a vid on it, brother. I hope everybody's doing well and stay safe.